because of our liquid gold. And I'm not against electric cars, but we're going to have also gas-powered cars. We're going to have hybrids. We might someday have hydrogen. Did you ever hear of hydrogen? That's the new thing. That's the new hot thing. No, hydrogen's the hottest thing going. It's too hot. You know what happens? When there's a problem, it's bad. The car blows up, and you're not even recognizable when this happens. It's like, it's a disaster. They tell me about, and I say, are there any problems? Well, there's one problem. When a car goes bad and when it blows up, the person driving the car is not recognizable. So I think I'm going to pass on that particular car. They said, oh, well, we'll figure it out. I said, you better do a lot of figuring because this does not happen. It's not off to a good start. Well, I'm president. No state in America will be permitted to ban gas-powered cars or trucks, and I guarantee it. You're going to make them right here. You're going to make them here. Over the past 4 years, Kamala Harris has unleashed nothing but chaos and suffering for American labor. With historic inflation, she's made life excruciating for the blue-collar workers who make this country run, and now our entire nation is paying the price. You see what's going on, right? If I was president, the longshoreman strike affecting the entire East Coast and indeed the entire nation would never have happened in the first place. And just so you understand, they were hurt very badly by inflation. They were hurt very, there's two sides to every story. The issue should have been settled by Harris and Biden. They don't even know what's happening. I don't even think they know what's happening. Joe, what do you think of the longshoreman strike? What? It's affecting trade. It's affecting half of the country, Joe. Maybe all of the country. I don't know about it. And she won't ask about it. That's why she won't have a news conference. I did one the other day in Wisconsin. It lasted like for 2 hours. They asked me so many questions, the press was exhausted by the time. They were exhausted. I love seeing that. They're just exhausted. They're looking, got you. I got you. If you don't read a big story, that means they didn't get you. They want to get you so badly. They're sick. Look at all of them back there. But the fact is, we don't have the kind of president that we need. We don't have a real president. We have the most incompetent vice president in the history of our country, and by far the worst president in the history of our country. Jimmy Carter, a very nice man. Jimmy Carter is the happiest man. Just celebrated his 100th birthday. He's the happiest man in the history. I just celebrated 100 years. Just celebrated. His wife passed away, Rosalind, not too long ago. My wife, the great first lady, went, and Jimmy was pretty old then. He's a little older now. I tell you, he's so happy because his administration was considered brilliant compared to what we have now. Jimmy Carter was a brilliant president compared to Joe Biden and Kamala. Under my leadership, America's workers won't have to go and strike for better wages or a better life because they will once again have a champion for them in the Oval Office. I'll be their champion. Believe me, I will be that. And I'll bring back the American dream. I don't know how long the strike is going to go on, but if it's on with me, I'll get it back pretty quickly, I think. For the longshoremen and all of the other people that have been hurt so badly by inflation. They've been really hurt badly by inflation. No matter what they make. You probably have inflation, real numbers, 50, 60, 70%. Some things went up 100%, 125%. Look at interest rates, though. Seriously. Take a look at interest rates. You want to buy a home. I had 2%. Now it's much more than 10%. Somebody said it's 10%, but you can't get the money. I said, that means it's higher than 10%. That's what that means. The Trump Republican Party is the party of the American worker, and it's also the party of common sense. And it always will be. My pro-worker policies are one of the major reasons why I've been overwhelmingly endorsed by the rank-and-file membership, first time it's ever happened, of the Teamsters, including 62% of the Teamster members in Michigan. Are any of them in this room? Ooh. No, I think it's great. Well, thank you very much. First time it's ever happened. It's great. Now, the leaders aren't going to endorse us. Actually, the 62% are not exactly thrilled because, they say why, but I fully understand. And if you look at the leader of the Teamsters, his name is Sean O'Brien, right? He happens to be a very good man. But Sean Fain, the United Auto Workers, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He sold out the auto workers like nobody's ever sold. Within a short period of time, they got a little gain up front. But in 2 years, you won't be making any cars. If I'm not elected, you will not be making any more cars in Michigan. It's all going to be moved over to China and different places, all electric. As we bring back our jobs, we will also restore America's borders with 4 more years for Kamala. She will flood every Michigan, small town, and Midwestern city with illegal migrants from the most dangerous places on earth. And Michigan will not be at Michigan any longer. Would you like to have a couple of million migrants living in your wonderful state? She has let in 21 million people during her 3.5 years. From prisons and jails, from mental institutions and insane asylums, terrorists at record levels, terrorists. I used to have a very strong watch with Terror Watch. People said, that's not nice. I said, it's very nice. It's called intelligent. We had a Terror Watch. In 2019, Border Patrol said we had none. I don't believe that. I think they have to have some. But they actually have us down for 0. The following year, they had us down for 11. We have thousands of terrorists now coming in from Yemen, from all over the world. They're coming in. Not just South America. They're coming in from all over the world. If they wanted to close the border, all the president has to do is say, close the border. I'm the president. Close that border. That's what I did. And the border was closed. She keeps talking about, oh, we want him to sign a bill. The bill they wanted me to sign was the worst bill you ever seen. 2 million people in. Everybody gets you're automatically a citizen of our country. The worst bill you've ever seen. And it would have done nothing. It would have hurt. But they use that as a ruse. No, they don't have to use that. All they have to do is say, close the border. They don't need a bill. I didn't have a bill. I closed the border. I said, close the border. Border Patrol, by the way, is fantastic. You know, they want to do their job. ICE wants to do their fantastic. She wants to get rid of ICE. She wants to get rid of ICE. Who's going to go into a nest of MS-13 killers? These ICE guys, they're tough as hell. I've seen it. They're tough, and they love our country, too. The corrupt media is outraged that I keep talking about the migrant crime epidemic. Well, I'm outraged that Kamala Harris keeps importing migrant criminals. These are among the worst criminals in the world. Remember when she said, no, 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 migrants don't cause any crime. And I said, wow, they're pretty rough-looking people to me. They're pretty rough-looking people to me. And it turned out to be, I was right. This was 2 years ago. They said, no, migrants don't, that our people are much more dangerous. No, no, it's not that way. It's the opposite. It's the absolute opposite. I'm outraged that according to news statistics, 13,099 convicted illegal alien murderers have been set loose into the USA. Be careful. I'm outraged that Kamala Harris freed 2 illegal alien thugs who assaulted, kidnapped, and murdered a 12-year-old girl named Jocelyn. You know Jocelyn. I'm outraged that Kamala released into America the predator, the animal who murdered Laken Riley. I'm outraged she let in the savages who raped and murdered Rachel Morin. I'm outraged on behalf of every American family whose children have been murdered by illegal alien and horrible, horrible, savage migrants that Kamala brought into this country. Kamala's agenda is bringing death and despair to America. I will restore light, hope, and dignity back into Michigan, and very quickly. Thank you. I will make America safe again. We will be safe again. On day one of my administration, the invasion of illegal migrants, terrorists, drug dealers, and murderers ends, and on that same day, the largest deportation in our history begins. We have no choice. We have no choice. We have no choice. The record was Dwight Eisenhower, who's a moderate president, but he hated to see people pouring into our country illegally, and he has the largest record. It's very strange when you think about it, but Dwight Eisenhower, very, very strongly about borders, because you don't have borders if you don't do this. If you want to see how sick and distorted Kamala Harris's priorities are, just consider FEMA. F-E-M-A, you know what that is, right? The Federal Emergency Management Agency, and you read about it now all the time, because there's nobody that's handled a hurricane or storm worse than what they're doing right now. Kamala spent all her FEMA money, billions of dollars, on housing for illegal migrants, many of whom should not be in our country, including $1 billion for gift cards for illegal aliens and putting them up in luxury hotels with a gift card to welcome them to America, as our veterans are sleeping on the sidewalks below those hotels, and they're being walked into luxury hotels. Now we have a horrific disaster in North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Tennessee, Florida, and Virginia. That's how big this hurricane was. And the Harris-Biden administration says they don't have any money. They've spent it all on, they spent all of their money. They have almost no money because they spent it all on illegal migrants. How would you like to be a veteran and you've been sleeping opposite the entrance to a luxury hotel, and illegal migrants come in and they're going up and occupying the hotel? That's what's happening. They stole the FEMA money just like they stole it from a bank so they could give it to their illegal immigrants that they want to have vote for them this season. You know, they're trying to get them on the voters' roll. We cannot let that happen. This is the worst response in the history of hurricanes. A certain president, I will not name him, destroyed his reputation with Katrina. And this is doing even worse. She's doing worse than he did. Vote for Trump, and we will take care of the American people first. We'll take care of everything. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now we're going to take care of our country. On top of it all, we just learned that Kamala skipped out on all of her briefings to prepare for hurricanes. She never took a briefing. She wouldn't understand. I don't think she would understand if she did. It did. Think of this. For years, I took the briefings. I mean, I was hoping it wouldn't happen, but you take briefings, you have to be prepared. She's totally unprepared. And he's unprepared. They're both unprepared mentally, but at least they could give it a shot. But Kamala could not be bothered by doing briefings, and now we're paying a big price. They have no idea what the hell they're doing. We had the best 4 years with hurricanes. We took care of people, and I was on the phone. I was screaming at people. They hate my guts to this day. They write books about me. I'm the worst human being they've ever, but they got the job done, and they weren't even that good. She simply doesn't do the work to protect the American people. I will stop all migrant flights to Michigan and every state. So they say, this is the greatest con. They say, no, you know, because she was getting killed in the polls, they say what happened, and this was even him before her, but they did a couple of little things, little tricks, it's just tricks, same number. And they said, we've got better numbers now on the border, which is true, a little bit better. But what they didn't do is stop airplanes from flying over the border, bringing in hundreds of thousands of migrants. But we caught them, and we say, why are you doing, if you want to stop them, why are you doing airplane flights coming in with hundreds of thousands? Tremendous numbers, hundreds of thousands. And then they have a phone app. Do you know they have an app? Think of it. You know who the app is for? The guys that bring the migrants into our country have a phone app, so they know where to dump them, so they know where to bring them. The cartel leaders, the leaders of the cartels, who are among the richest people, I believe, in the world, and they deal also in women. They trek women through the borders and into our country. That's turned out to be a big business. To a lesser extent, children. Not too many men. Not too many. They don't want the men. They want the women and they want the children. And they're traffickers, they're called. They're really bad people. They're really bad. It sounds like an ancient thing, right? An ancient crime, but it's not. What made it so big today, they do at the same kind of money they make with drugs. Some people say it's more. What they do today is like unbelievable and horrible. But you know why it's so big today? Bigger than it ever was 2,000 years ago. Because of the internet. They get all the information about people on the internet, and because of that, it's a massive business, and we had it under control, and now it's totally out of control, and drugs are pouring in at 11 times more than they were when I was there. And you'll never, by the way, stop the drug epidemic unless you have the death penalty for drug dealers, I will tell you right now. Each dealer, male or female, each dealer kills, on average, 500 people during their lifetimes, and that's not to mention all of the, I mean, I know so many families that have lost a child. They've lost parents too, but they've lost usually young kids. They've lost a child. That family is devastated forever. They don't get better. Somebody says, oh, time heals. They don't get better. They've lost a son or a daughter to fentanyl, brought in by drug dealers that are smart and vicious, and that family never, ever recovers. Never recovers. I will shut down all entries through Kamala's migrant phone app. I'll close that app so fast. I will end sanctuary cities immediately. There will be no sanctuary cities in our country. A sanctuary city protects criminals, and I'll do all of the illegal migrants that Kamala has dumped into your small towns will be going home. You're going to have to go home, I'm sorry. Because it's not sustainable. And it's going to be very hard to do. It's a very hard thing to do. They'll pick out one person who's very sympathetic, a woman with 2 children, and they'll show it's a very tough thing. But we have thousands of murderers. Of the murderers, 25% of them have murdered more than one person. 10% of them have murdered more than 5 people. These people are roaming our country. They could go into a restaurant, they can do whatever they want, and they will kill you because they are wired that way. They were wired that way. We're going to get them the hell out of our country. But for all of that to happen, you have to vote for Trump. You also need to vote for a great gentleman who is going to be of tremendous help to me. He's one of the most respected people in Washington, as you know, and he's running for a thing called the United States Senate. And he's from your beautiful state, but he's tough, he's smart, he's so respected. And I had a lot of choices because my endorsement means a lot. Whoever the hell I endorse, those good. And you know, I looked at some very good people, and they were very good people, but I know him, and this is a man who's about as smart and tough as you can be. All of the things I told you about with jobs and getting illegal migrants out, all these things are very tough things. He will be an unbelievable advocate, and he'll be a great advocate for Michigan. So I want to bring up Mike Rogers, please, wherever Mike is. Come on up, Mike. Got to vote for him.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to take a minute, if I may, and tell a story about Donald Trump you don't get to see very often. He's been flying all over the country. He's been doing his thing. He comes to Grand Rapids. He invites me to come with him over to Macomb County. I get on the airplane, and my phone starts blowing up, and I look down, and there was another really important, maybe even more important than the presidential election. My niece was running for student treasurer in middle school, and she was so nervous the day before. She happens to be a huge Donald Trump fan. The phone goes off, and I said, Mr. President, you're not going to believe it. We had our first great news today. My niece won for student treasurer. Yeah. So the president is, you know, he's got a lot going on. He's the Energizer Bunny. He's got 3 phones coming out of his ear. He's signing stuff. It's unbelievable to watch him work. And I said, hey, would you mind just signing this little card to say congratulations, Ileana? This would be great. He said, no, I'm not going to do that. Why don't you come over here, and I'll make a video. So, yeah, you bet. So we make a video, and I'm going to tell you this, Mr. President. I can pretty much guarantee this is going to happen. You are killing it in the middle schools across the United States of America. And I do look forward to working with you on all of your agenda to get it done, to keep America safe. And thank you for not giving up on Michigan workers. I'll tell you, those Teamsters right there, they have more common sense amongst those Teamsters right there than in every committee room in Washington, D.C. And I look forward to working with you to make America great again, Mr. President.
Great, Mike. Oh, you got to get out and vote for Mike. Very important. He'll be the best senator you've had. He will do things that nobody else could do. We're also pleased to be joined by a warrior, a friend of mine, and a congressman who fought for me, and he will always fight for me. He's going to fight for you, basically. Jack Bergman. Jack, thank you. Jack, looking good, Jack. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jack. Good job. Really a warrior. A candidate for Congress who's doing very well. I just looked at some poll. Paul Young. Where's Paul Young? Hi, Paul. That's good. Oh, they liked him. Good. Good luck, Paul. and Michigan GOP Chairman, Ambassador Pete Hoekstra, who's been a friend of mine for a long time. I went to Pete, you know, he's a very successful politician, congressman, and then he retired and did other things. He did a great job. Then he became ambassador. He was a great ambassador. I called him. I said, you got to take over the party. I want you. And it wasn't that easy to get him. And he's done a hell of a job. I want to tell you. Thanks, Pete. And are we going to win? We got to win. Yeah, but thanks, Pete. Good job. I hear unbelievable job. So Kamala is the worst vice president, according to many, in the history of our country. And here are the facts. She wants to open borders, totally open borders, keep them open. If she gets in, you'll have 200 million people in here along with you, not 21 million that they let in already. She will deliver even more catastrophic inflation. She was an original creator of defund the police. Defund the police. Anybody